Hello and welcome to Well Played. I'm your host Bluetongue from around Sydney, Australia. I am joined by our hosts from the hills. We have Harrow. How are you doing, Harrow?
Really well, thank you. I bought my premiere tickets to Batman vs Superman on Tuesday. I am so stoked for this movie. I've been playing Factorio, and I've been reading Chuck Dixon's run on Nightwing, which is a lot of fun.
Now, tell me about Nightwing.
Well, what would you like to know?
What kind of comic is it? Is it serious? Is it lighthearted? Is he a bit of a spoof on another comic book character? Is he... Yeah.
Who is Nightwing and why?
Yeah.
Literally anything. Tell him anything at all.
I could probably make it up at this point. Nightwing...
I'd correct you.
Yeah. Nightwing is...
Wrong.
Dick Grayson. He was the first Robin, and because they like to make comics go forward in time now, he grew up and became his own, left Batman's shadow, became his own hero, Nightwing. And here in the series I'm reading, he's now the protector of Gotham's shittier cousin city, Bloodhaven. So...
I can't believe it's not Gotham. Yay!
Look at it this way. If Gotham is Sydney, Bloodhaven is Wollongong.
Cool.
Okay, so the city with slightly less employment than Gotham.
Like very little employment and rampant drug use, and yeah, I'm not saying Wollongong's got this, but a big problem is in Batman, corruption is bottom up, so it's the beat cops, which are the corrupt ones, and then the higher up you get, the more legit it is, with Commissioner Gordon being really good. Bloodhaven's the other way round. The very top brass are all dirty, and only some of the very lowest ranking are trying to clean it up. It's actually a pretty...
hang on. That's a bit of a low blow at Wollongong. I mean, it only had its entire local council, dethroned and completely ousted for corruption, what was it, 6 or 7 years ago? That, we've got a whole new council now.
Yeah.
So Wollongong's not like that anymore, Harrow.
But yes, it's a very interesting read.
Cool.
And Nightwing is a little lighter hearted than Batman. It's not all grim and brooding and stuff like that. And it's also a good, every son's got issues with his father, and it explores the dynamics between Batman, Robin, Nightwing, Alfred. It is also a very good character study on the Bat family.
Cool.
Correct me if I'm wrong, and this is potentially major spoils for something, I don't know what, but is Nightwing the one that fell over and died?
No, Nightwing is one character they will never ever kill. IGN is very famous for saying Dick Grayson will never die.
Okay. Do you remember Injustice Gods Among Us Year 1?
Injustice Gods Among Us?
Yes.
Yeah?
Did Nightwing happen to fall over and die?
Oh, yes, he did. That's an alternate timeline.
Oh, my mistake.
And that is the only place they'll ever... And he came back anyway. And that is the only place they would only ever kill him in an alternate timeline.
Okay, fair enough.
Fell over and died. What the hell? How does that even happen? You're going to tell me about that later.
All right. From Gladesville, we've got Bauxite. How you doing, Baux?
I'm all right. I've been on a training course this week, which has been, absolutely thrilling. I've learned all about how to ship dangerous goods on aircraft. Woo! Super fun. Apart from that, I've had a lot more time to do some video gamey things. I've been playing a lot of Minecraft recently. Recently, Mojang has started up something called Minecraft Realms, which has turned the multiplayer from an absolute nightmare where you need someone tech savvy to set up your own server to, hey, just give us money and we'll sort it out for you. So I gave them some money, and
Cool.
I've got my own Minecraft server going now, which I'm happy to open up to any well-played listeners. Just send us a direct message on Twitter.
Yeah, or an email, or whatever suits.
Yeah, just get in contact with us some way. Carrier pigeon, I don't mind. Apart from that, been doing a little bit of board gaming. I've been playing a game called Packet Row, which is an interesting sort of Euro. Harrow and I had a game a week or so back.
That's what it was called. I've just been calling it the shipping game.
Yeah. So Packet Row is the a shipping district of some American place.
Let's go Baltimore.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I don't know. Yeah, and basically you're like, okay, one of you is the shipping master, and you have the advantage that you can choose what type of resources are available, but you've got the disadvantage that you've got the last choice of those resources. So it's a very interesting balancing act.
Yeah, you can really get into your opponent's heads. It's fun like that.
Yeah.
You can also get inside your own head and double trick yourself. So
It sounds a little bit like Broom Service.
in some ways, with less feelings of remorse and mourning.
I'd say Broom Service has fewer FU moments, but the FU moments are much harsher. This one's got more FU moments, but you get over it quickly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
You can always choose what you're going to miss out on, more or less. So there might be something you really, really want, but the chances are everyone else really, really wants it too. So,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
In which case you need to sort of acknowledge that and go for your second choice.
Yep. Cool.
Yeah.
Is it, how many players is it?
I think it goes up to 5 or 6.
Cool.
But I think best with 4.
Yep. Like many, many games.
Yep.
So, from the Blue Mountains, we have Cam. How you doing, Cam?
Yeah, good. This week I've just been to a pre-screening that I won. That is, I won tickets to through Kotaku and for 999, which has Aaron Paul from Breaking Bad and the actor that played Daryl Dixon in The Walking Dead, Norman Reedus, among many other actors. Crazy film with
Woody Harrelson.
Gal Gadot, the next Wonder Woman, is in it in a role where you barely see her on screen at all. You've got Kate Winslet playing one of the main villains. It's insane, tight cast, and yeah, to have seen it for free was really, really cool. Very good movie. Think kind of along the lines of The Wire, The Shield, clear kind of inspiration from those. Maybe not quite on the heights of those films, and the biggest crime that is actually committed in the film is the criminal underutilization of Aaron Paul. But apart from that, very good movie.
Does he say bitch at any point in the movie?
At no point does he say bitch. And, yeah, but basically, well worth seeing. Film about a group of guys that are from the military, guys that are cops, that are present cops that are also corrupt and undertaking these seizures. Basically, seizing a whole lot of money from this bank in order to pay off a guy's kind of debt to his ex-sister-in-law. So I'm not doing it justice.
That's like a really flimsy justification. Well, she must be a crazy, intimidating ex-sister-in-law.
So said ex-sister-in-law more or less has custody of this guy's son. And there's a lot more to it than that kind of verges on spoiling it that I won't go into.
Yeah,
but
please don't. I am looking forward to see it.
Yeah, definitely worth it. I mean, again, Aaron Paul, and quite frankly, I always think of him as Daryl Dixon, but he's Norman Reedus. Norman Reedus was quite underutilized as well. But I mean,
does it have some great action sequences?
It's not really that kind of movie. It's not going to be the kind of movie that you'll see for the great sequences. You won't say, "Oh, wasn't this or that amazing?" It's a tense movie. It's a thriller. The setups are what you go for.
Something like Ronin or something like that, I'd be happy with. So it doesn't have crazy, insane action sequences, but the stuff that it does have is really fulfilling.
It's a stressful movie to watch in some respects. I remember just sitting there going, I feel stressed watching this, but I think you are looking for that in a thriller, if that makes any sense at all. Not that you particularly want to go and watch something to feel stressed. I'm not recommending 999 saying go watch it. It's the most stressed out you'll feel, but definitely the way that they set it up and the different scenarios that come up with these cast of characters is very well made. But particularly if you liked The Departed, I see a little bit of that film in this.
Yeah.
That's a big call. Departed is amazing.
Yeah, and to be fair, I don't think this is on that level. I think that very few films are on that kind of level. But
Are you talking about the original Japanese version though?
oh no, I'm not referring to. Oh, what was the original version?
Infernal Affairs.
Yes, I'm not referring to that one. I refer to the American one. But
Yeah. I have a funny story about that one. The very first time I saw it, I literally saw the last 5 minutes of that version of.
yeah.
And I'm like, wow, there's a lot of death in this movie. I don't understand.
Oh dear.
Yeah, it was funny.
I remember actually that was one of my complaints about The Departed, and I remember talking to someone else about it. They're like, oh, but it's so Shakespearean seeing all these people die, and I was like, oh yeah, it really is. So I rewatched it with that in mind and enjoyed it a lot more.
Yeah, interesting.
How are you doing this week, Bluetongue?
I'm doing great, thank you. I have been playing a lot of betas this week, so the Division beta came online not last weekend, the weekend before, and I sunk a fair chunk of time into that and really enjoyed it. It's this weird blend of like, what's the word? Gears of War, and probably Ghost Recon, and a sandbox style game, and then a survival style game, just to sort of mix things up a bit more and make it a bit more tense. And I found it really enjoyable. However, I did unfortunately get an exposure to, people and the internet this week in full force. So basically the internet at its worst is like this game, basically. So it's like being on a troll-filled forum trying to have a serious conversation in part. And yeah, so like the multiplayer in the game basically involves making yourself a target and getting murdered by people who are completely untrustworthy. Yeah. If you see anyone run up to you in this game, basically, while you're waiting to like send off your goods and stare at you for a couple of seconds, that is the point at which you need to shoot them in the face.
I hate awkward silences.
Like every single time someone ran up to me and stared at me for a couple of seconds, deciding if I was the person that had sent up the flare and had loot, I would then get murdered when I looked around a corner or turned my back on them. So yeah, next time it's going to be shotgun o'clock. So I'm playing that, and I've been sinking a bit of time into the Overwatch beta as well, and that is tons and tons of fun. It's a really fast-paced team-style game that isn't too, beat your head against a brick wall, which Team Fortress can turn into. If you aren't making any progress in the actual success of the map, the game finishes earlier, which is nice. So the characters are really well sort of realized, and the actual gameplay is really solid, even with a lowish ping as we get in Australia. So yeah, it's been a good week. Good times.
So our first topic this week, we'll be looking at Deadpool, which is the latest in Fox's Marvel licensed films. And basically, for those of you that haven't seen it yet, it's a different kind of take on Marvel's usual formula. It's another superhero film, but one that sort of takes joy in how it skewers the previous offerings from Marvel and the way it makes fun of the genre in general. So Ryan Reynolds stars as the title character Deadpool, a character that's been around since 1991. He was created by comics' most controversial creator, Rob Liefeld, and writer Fabian Nicieza in the New Mutants, and basically given a more comedic kind of take in later iterations by Marvel scribe Joe Kelly. So here we're talking about a film that I guess has a different way of portraying the usual Marvel style. It's definitely not for kids, more so than I think even Watchmen and a lot of other superhero genre films. This is not one to take the kids to, as I think in one particular iteration they had a kind of a warning at the beginning of the film where the star of this, Ryan Reynolds, warned them of that. It's a film that was in development limbo for a long time, and we've finally got it here. I assume that we've all had a chance to see it so far. So just to start off with, what did you guys think about this one?
Look, it has a certain appeal. I've got to say it's my favourite Adam Sandler movie. Look,
it doesn't star Adam Sandler, but I take it that you refer to the style, the jokes, and
Yeah, yeah, yep. Look, I mean, it was all right. Wasn't exactly my cup of tea, but look, Fox did an amazing level of marketing for this, and I fell for it hook, line, and sinker. I was totally in. This was going to be the best movie of 2016.
It's only
I hope not. I hope there are better movies because I walked away just feeling a little bit cold.
Okay. I mean, it sounds like the hype then was kind of a factor in how it was that you perceived this one, and
Absolutely.
maybe
Yep.
I don't think any particular movie could live up to the level of hype that this one had.
Yeah. No. Look. It was crazy. This had the most hype I've ever seen come for a movie. I mean, there was a lot of hype around Star Wars, but they didn't market it as hard as Fox did for this.
Yep, and that's a fair kind of comment. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Bluetongue, I think you disagree with that. I think we've discussed this film before, but what did you think of it?
I really enjoyed it. I had a really good time watching it. I enjoyed a lot of the acting. The comedy at times could be quite base, but at the same time, it had enough cleverness to it and a decent comedic timing in parts to make it really fun and to make it still worth going to see for an adult. For an adult.
I think we're reiterating that point there for any listeners at home with kids. But
yeah. What about Harrow? How did you feel about it?
I'm like you. I really enjoyed it. I was pretty hyped up for this movie, and I think the movie actually exceeded my expectations. I mean, it's not the best. It's not the best X-Men movie, but it's considering the standard of most of them, it's up there with some of the best.
Yeah, absolutely.
In my opinion.
There's been some real flops for X-Men movies, so this is... Yeah.
The Wolverine origin movies, yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of this movie seems to be a response to that, wouldn't you say? To the way that that character was depicted in
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
The podcast I listen to, they have this joke that Fox's motto is continuity schmontinuity. They're not beholden to anything. The failure of Wolverine didn't bring about Deadpool. It knocked it back. It made it less likely to happen. That's why we had to wait so long for this to come in. This movie, Deadpool wasn't about fixing the mistakes. That was Days of Future Past's job. And this thing's its own thing. Continuity be damned. Because the next X-Men movie's in the 80s, and this one was obviously in modern day.
Well, actually, this movie does fit into the continuity because of Days of Future Past.
So,
Yeah, the erasure events of that. I think something
I think the last
yeah.
quarter of that movie just did not happen in the timeline now.
the last quarter of which one?
Days of Future Past?
Of Wolverine.
Oh, yes, of course, yeah.
None of Wolverine happened.
All of the Wolverine happened right up until he meets Stryker.
What you make
This
it.
film does skewer like all sorts of different conventions, and one thing in particular is that, much like the comic book, there's no fourth wall in this movie. The characters speak at the audience themselves, and the one comment that Deadpool makes as part of this kind of humor, it's the same approach that Joe Kelly took to the character in the 90s, was he says, so we're off to the Xavier mansion. Which Xavier is it? Is it McAvoy or Stewart? These timeline changes are getting confusing. So it's in many ways an attempt to sort of make up for past sort of things that have taken place in the X-Men movies and other mistakes that have happened. But also, I think in some ways it's Marvel, or not Marvel, but certainly Fox, acknowledging that we're all a bit tired of superhero movies and yet making a superhero movie to capitalize on that. So
Yeah, I feel like they learned from a lot of their mistakes in this. So there were parts of it which I know could have really fallen over, and the writing holds it together quite well, where in parts you'd think that it might really struggle.
yeah, what kind of parts are you thinking about there?
Basically, the comedy is really, it's witty, it's very back and forth, it's quick banter, it's good listening, and it's well executed by the actors involved. Whereas in other movies, and where the dialogue has really suffered if the actual jokes that are made aren't that good, if the kind of stuff that the actors are having to come out with is just really poor writing. So, for instance, Juggernaut's character in some of the original X-Men movies, just really poorly written, just really awkward sounding, whereas this all really flows and it fits really nicely.
Yeah, you mentioned that Colossus is another character that's in this that, I mean, they were a bit, in the way that they depicted him, it's a smart-assy kind of take. It's a take where he comes across as not the smartest character in the film. But definitely they got him better than they did previous incarnation of him that I think was in the third X-Men movie.
The second one.
Really? Colossus?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was in the second one.
Only for like 2 seconds, but yeah.
He armors up and punches a guy while Iceman makes a wall of ice and Wolverine escapes with all the kids.
Yeah.
Stryker hangs around.
No, and he picks someone up and carries her out, I think. But
Yeah.
Is that the scene where Wolverine then just goes postals and starts murdering all the little SWAT guys coming into the mansion?
It does sound like something Wolverine would do.
It does.
It gives me a good excuse to watch what I still think is the best X-Men movie of all time, which is that second X-Men movie. But I enjoyed Deadpool more than I have a lot of other superhero movies, and I've seen a lot of them. Certainly not all of them. I'm yet to watch Fantastic Four. I don't know. No one's going to let me know if that movie's any good, but definitely sort of up there. Part of this was, despite all that marketing, I went and got to see the film for free with an IGN kind of promotion. So I guess I didn't have the expectations that other people had. Yeah, Ryan Reynolds is not an actor that's known for his consistency, despite him otherwise being quite good in other things. And yeah, expect jokes about Green Lantern.
Yep.
Yeah, look, Ryan Reynolds is a perfectly good actor, although I think he suffers a little bit from the same thing that Will Smith suffers from, is that he plays himself.
Yep.
Yeah. He doesn't act, he's just Ryan Reynolds on screen with a different name. Same with Will Smith.
It was interesting that you mentioned that the opposite happened with Kate Winslet in 999. I made a comment to the guy that I saw it with later that, hang on, Kate Winslet was in that? Like, she disappears entirely into the role. But yeah, certainly Ryan Reynolds as Ryan Reynolds playing Deadpool.
Yeah, I mean, he's the same character he is in Blade 3. He's the same character he is in Selfless. He's the same character he is in Green Lantern. He doesn't have a lot of range. But, he does fine. Yeah. I don't know. I'm a bit of a downer on this. I didn't enjoy it, so I'm sorry if I'm detracting from the episode. But, yeah, man, look, to be perfectly honest, I found the thing to be a 2.5 hour long joke. You said the comedic writing was great. I actually found it really puerile and not witty at all.
Yeah.
It's
as
like
you said,
there's a moment. Yeah, no, look, I can understand base humor, and that there is a range of base humor as well. But when it goes just as much as butts, I expect that from Beavis and Butthead. You know,
there's something else that I guess which contributes to my perspective on this is that I have a really soft spot for slapstick humor, like old classics like The Plank and some like Monty Python sketches and stuff like that. I actually really find tons of fun. So there are parts of this that feel a little bit like that.
Immediately when you said that part where he breaks both hands and his leg on Colossus's body. Deadpool regenerates, so you know that he's going to be fine eventually. But yeah, that scene, other scenes come to mind.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, I did enjoy that scene, so I will give you that. One thing though, the big bad Ajax / Francis, the running joke throughout the whole movie is that his name is Francis. My grandfather was named Francis. So maybe I'm not exactly the right person to find that humorous, but that's not exactly a very funny name.
Yeah.
Certainly, but I guess only from the perspective of if you're going for this big, bad name, then, that Francis isn't... It's not even that bad a name. It's arguably not a badass name, but beyond that, it's that he's so ashamed of that name.
Yeah.
Yep. It's the fact that he tried to hide that name from everyone and then take on this big macho persona, and he turned out to, yeah.
But that has been a complaint, is that this film lacks such powerful villains.
Yeah. It's He's no Magneto.
Yeah. But I guess he's no Magneto in the sense that Magneto had an excellent plan where he was playing, there were layers and layers and layers in his plan. What's Ajax's plan? Create super soldiers, stage 2, step 3 is profit, right?
He's mercenary straight up.
I think it's actually,
not every villain needs to be a psychopath or a revolutionary. Some villains are just mercenary.
I think it's the task of the soldiers, once he's got them, to go and steal all the underpants in town. And then stage 3 is profit. A lot of people have made that complaint, that it lacks a compelling villain. I personally think not every villain needs to be Magneto, and in this case, he's a villain because he's quite unlikable. I don't know sort of if other people felt this way, but I certainly had a visceral response. I really did not like the character from the start.
Yeah, he gives off. I think the actor did quite well. He gives off this pretty boy, macho, kind of persona, and kind of degrades everyone else around him to make himself feel better. Is the kind of vibe I'm getting from him. Am I just reading too far into him, or what do you guys think?
No, I think that's spot on, and certainly just comes across as a massive jerk. I think the actor did well to do that.
So, I also like the actual ending to the movie as well, and like sorry,
the mask under the mask.
That was clever. I'll give you that. Absolutely. That was actually one of the 2 times in the movie I laughed.
When you say the actual ending, though,
I mean the climax with Ajax.
Yeah.
I thought.
Yeah.
Losses a speech.
Yeah. That was really good fun. I loved it.
That was tremendous, and I know this is fitting in with the puerile kind of humor, but Colossus there underway with this deliberately cornball speech, and then he just decides, I'll kill him anyway, and then to see Colossus puking after that. Yeah, I found that funny, Sumi.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. You're just ranting on and on.
What did you guys think of the other support actors? So we had, what was her name? Negasonic Teenage Warhead? Is that a real X-Man?
That is a real X-Man, yes.
Wow, I can't believe it.
I think they actually had originally a budget for 2 to 3 more characters from the X-Men. That budget did get cut, hence he makes the comment when they go to the mansion, hey, it's like I only ever see you guys around here. That's weird. You'd think you'd see other X-Men. It's like the studio deliberately cut our budget so we wouldn't see any others. So that happened. There's also in support role, the role of Wade Wilson's girlfriend in this is played by the same woman that was in Serenity and Gotham. I'm trying to remember the name off the top of my head of the actress.
Morena Baccarin.
Say again.
Morena Baccarin.
So basically here we have pretty stellar cast, I'd have to say, for this one.
Yeah. She was also in the terrorist TV show. Homeland, that's it. And she's really good in that. I thought she was fantastic. Yeah, she did a really good job. I enjoyed almost all the supporting acting. So the almost only is only in reference to probably... it's not even the voice actor for Colossus's fault, but the actual character of Colossus, it just did not fit with my preconceived and basically comic book and TV show versions of Colossus that I've seen before.
Is it that he's sort of too much of a putz or something?
No, it's more that he is not a human-ish character. He doesn't have human scale.
Yep.
He's a bit unrelatable and a bit dry.
Yep. The dryness kind of works well when sort of superimposed with Deadpool and him being, completely out there as he is. But the actual graphics that they've developed for Colossus, they were quite poor. I just didn't enjoy it at all.
Yeah, they were okay. I think they did a better job in X-Men 2.
Yeah, absolutely. I would have been perfectly happy if they'd just done that again. But
To be fair, in X-Men 2, when he was all Colossused out, it was dark. They were cheating.
It was dark, and he had like seconds of screen time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I imagine the CGI budget for Colossus for all those scenes probably would have got a bit steep. But yeah.
yeah, absolutely. Fair enough. I can blame the budget. Damn those accountants.
There were a couple of really nice helicopter shots of Xavier Mansion, though, so that was good.
Cool. I didn't even notice, to be honest.
Yeah,
I was-
I think they were directly recycled from the previous X-Men movies.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That's a fantastic budget way of doing that.
That's funny.
No, speaking about budget, I think the movie would have benefited from, say, another third big action scene. We got the one at the beginning, then we got the one at the end, and then a little smattering of action throughout. I would have liked one more big scene, or do you think that would have just blown the movie out or something like that?
Well, it might have blown the movie finances out. I think that's... I think the more I think about it, the more I start thinking that is where this movie was struggling. So the points that we're sort of bringing up are points that could be compensated for with just money and finance. So
The director did an excellent job, I think.
yeah, still, but yeah, you're right. I'm sure there could have been another action sequence if they had the time/budget to do it. So yeah.
Now that this film's done very well, you just knew that there was going to be a sequel, and the inevitable sequel's been announced, and everything like that. I wonder if that will be something that will be rectified in the next movie.
Well, I think it'll have to be, because I don't think they can do it. Can they do a love story again for the next one? They're going to have to change the game.
they can do a love story with a different love interest if she gets killed, I guess.
I was just thinking that it's horrible to say, but certainly the function in a lot of these films, sexist though it is, of a lot of female characters, is they end up sort of fodder for the villains, which...
Oh, the damsel in distress, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well-
And I mean, let's be honest, Deadpool is not about to break any massive tropes here.
It skewers tropes, I think, and I like that
It-
about the intro to the film.
It completely jumps into bed with tropes and goes, hey, look at me, I'm in bed with the trope.
But it also makes fun of said tropes while being in bed with it. So yeah, Deadpool's
Yeah.
kind of is what we kind of get from this.
Yeah.
I think that a lot of the female characters will she'll either end up as herself a superhero in some way, or being a deceased, unfortunately, plot moving point.
But isn't Vanessa's character also supposed to be the mutant copycat, or am I imagining that?
That's something I hadn't considered. Yeah.
I wasn't aware of that.
Okay. I mean, she's not a mutant now, but I forget what her last name is, but that character in the comic, I believe, was a mutant as well.
I think
Yeah.
you could be right. Yeah.
Totally not looking this up.
Anything else we wanted to add in the show notes besides stop taking children to see Deadpool?
Oh my goodness me. Yeah.
Yeah, this is definitely R-rated for a reason. There are so many swear words, so many graphic acts. I mean, this isn't an adult movie, but it's definitely an adult movie.
They're not super graphic, but there is strong implications, put it that way.
Well, you can definitely see and you can definitely see.
Yep.
So-
and we're not talking about the former candidate for the presidency who said, "Please applaud." We're talking about some other stuff that you get to see in this.
Good
I don't know if that would be less or more offensive.
I would actually prevent children from seeing that one.
There's one really fun character that we haven't really brought up yet, and that is that of Dupinder.
Yes, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the taxi sequences. They were great.
Dupinder?
Yeah,
The taxi driver.
The taxi driver.
Oh, fantastic! Yes, yeah. I had a little bit of a moment of mind blank there, but yes, definitely in me.
Yeah.
Yes, he's in the trunk as we speak.
I'm so proud of you. No, bad Jupinder. Him. And then he gets in the car crash and you hear, ow, coming from the boot.
I guess that kind of brings up another point here is that Deadpool's not really a superhero, and they go out of their way, quite frankly, with this one to point that out, and to point that out again several times that he's not a hero.
Yeah, it was on the nose, but it wasn't on the nose as Jessica Jones. I'll say that.
Yeah.
I think Jessica Jones explored it in a lot more mature and, I mean, yeah, a lot more mature. And
They
a
had,
lot,
they had what, 13 episodes to do it, though?
I think, yeah. I think to be
yeah,
fair,
but
I think to be
I
fair,
think-
as a show, it's a lot more mature than this.
yeah. And honestly, I could show my kids Jessica Jones and not feel worried about it. You know, maybe sit down afterwards and go, okay, is there anything there you want to talk about? But no, I mean, the I'm not a hero business between Deadpool and Jessica Jones, look, it's a lot more fleshed out. Yeah, they had more time to do it, but they attempted it beyond the mere words, it's me, Deadpool, not a hero. That's as deep as it really got. There really wasn't much more to it. There was the big Colossus speech, and then bam! Oh, I got bored while you were talking. But yeah, look, I would argue that there's nothing in here that he does that is really outside the hero spectrum. Yeah. Apart from his declaration that he's not a hero, I'd actually say, yeah, he kind of is. There's nothing he does that isn't hero-y.
He killed a lot of henchmen and underlings.
Yeah, Wolverine does that. Like, for breakfast.
Yeah. Look, I'm inclined to agree. So it doesn't like break new ground, and it's not a movie where you go, wow, that really made me think. I just enjoyed it for what it was, and I didn't go in there with huge expectations in that regard, but still enjoyed it, I think.
Yeah, I think you're definitely right. If I walked in there thinking, I hope this makes me think, I went into the wrong movie.
Yeah, you're going to be desperately disappointed.
It's not a cerebral movie, but I think it makes you think in another sense, in that it's a self-reflexive movie. So it's a movie that has, at all points, it's making fun of itself. It's making fun of the superhero genre. The character's talking right at the screen. You're aware the whole time that you're made exceptionally aware that you're watching a movie, and it's making fun of itself the whole time. That was something nice, I thought.
Yeah, but I've seen this sort of thing happen in The Office and Parks and Recreation with the sort of faux documentary thing. Having Ryan Reynolds talk at the screen is not new to me.
Sure, certainly not, but it's in keeping with it's something that they introduced in the comic book, something that is making fun of it in a way that you don't see with those other ones. The other ones are purporting to be a documentary, whereas this one's starting off very much saying, this film was written by the real superheroes here, and making fun of the actors, making fun of Ryan Reynolds with the whole Green Lantern reference. So I don't know, that's what stood out to me. That's what I personally enjoyed from this. But I've got a low kind of threshold here too, as far as my ability to be impressed by this one.
Yeah, and I am being, to a certain extent, devil's advocate here. There definitely were enjoyable features of this film. But overall, I wish I had my $15 back.
Yeah, I think in terms of age limit for this, I would probably put it at 15. I imagine there's going to be a lot of 15-year-old kids who are going to want to go see it with their friends, and there are many worse movies they could be seeing in terms of like giving bad examples to people and stuff like that.
Definitely.
Yeah, if they're going to go and see stuff with their friends without your consent. But any younger than that, no.
Well, I think the ratings board disagrees with you and it says that no one under the age of 18 should watch this at all.
Yes.
I would actually say that no one under the age of 40 should watch this.
Yeah.
That's only because of your own sort of personal gripes with the film and everything. But yeah, I think Bluetongue kind of nails it in terms of what the content actually is in this. But in Deadpool, I think that you've got some violent content, you've got some over-the-top violence and over-the-top dialogue, some implied parts that are fairly disgusting, but maybe it's just my shift in what kind of content I think should be shown. But I wouldn't think anyone that much older than 15.
Yeah. So what kind of movies do you guys think would imply that you'll probably enjoy this? So if I really love X movie, what do you reckon would suit that kind of person?
Kick-Ass.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, number one with a bullet.
Any other Marvel movie?
Yep.
Guardians of the Galaxy?
Yep.
It's definitely in that trajectory, and certainly you said X movie, and I was just thinking it's quite different to the other X movies, but
Yeah, in a lot of ways.
But it picks up on some of the other threads. So if you're a big fan of the X-Men movies and you want something that is obviously comedic, obviously quite shady in a lot of respects, then yes, definitely this.
Yeah.
Billy Madison, Happy Gilmore.
I knew those jokes were coming. He's about to make some Adam Sandler movies.
I actually think that that's quite harsh in a way to Deadpool, only because I'm not at all a fan of Adam Sandler in general. That said, the movie Funny People was fantastic, as are his more serious kind of movies. But yeah, that said, if you do like those kind of movies, I can see where you're going with that. I can see, the sense of humor there and the content there. So
yeah, look, I mean, not everything that Adam Sandler has touched has turned to complete crap. So there are a couple of his movies that are okay. And, what was it? The one with the remote control.
Click was amazing, yeah.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. But that was a little bit of a departure from his joke movies. So, and, Deadpool is right in that wheelhouse. He talks about, and poop. And, cool. If that's your thing, this is the movie for you.
Yeah. Not entirely, but yeah, there's that element to it, so don't get offended if that, pops up.
Yeah. No, if you're easily offended, avoid the movie.
Or, be offended and enjoy that experience of being offended, because too few people do that nowadays.
So the other movies that I would suggest might be related in some way is out of the Marvel series, you've got Iron Man.
Definitely,
and his Tony Stark persona, and the smart ass, the sort of the one that's thinking ahead of everyone else in part, and the one making fun of everyone.
In this case, yeah.
Yeah. So any superhero along that vein. So you've got Loki, Peter Quill, Tony Stark. If you enjoyed those kind of characters, think about those guys turned up to 11 on the smartass meter. So
yeah. Similarly with Spider-Man.
Yep.
Yeah.
In this case, it's thinking ahead of everyone else is cutting off your own hands because they're going to grow back.
Yeah. Yep.
I like that part where he left the hand giving the finger behind.
Yeah, that was pretty clever.
That was the other time I laughed during this movie.
Okay, we've got 3 laughs out of you so far.
Look.
Jokes and poop jokes, but on the plus side, he cuts off his own hand.
Yeah, but it wasn't just that he cut off his own hand, it was how he did it, and that actually had a bit of wit and style to it. He wasn't just sniffing a gun and going, which made no sense to me at all. It's like, who schedules that?
Oh, that's awful.
I feel like we kind of have to leave it there.
I don't know. I think we're done. Break time.
Right, so moving on. Rick and Morty is our second topic for tonight. Now, I actually find the humor in this to be incredibly funny. Although it is not substantially different from the humor in Deadpool, I find it a lot wittier. But the basic premise is, okay, imagine, if you will, Back to the Future, where Doc Brown is an eccentric, elderly scientist, except he's also an alcoholic sociopath. And Marty is maybe 4 years younger and just starting to discover the wonders of puberty. So it's an animated series by Dan Harmon from Community fame and is on Adult Swim. There's 2 seasons so far, and they're currently in production for a third, but they've been in production for a third for a hell of a long time. So, but apparently that's how they do it. It actually came out in 2013. So they're very slowly releasing new content. But the 2 seasons so far, all 21 episodes, I have found absolutely piss myself laughing funny. What about you guys?
So it's funny that you say that, in that it's not that unlike Deadpool. I literally, the last episode that I watched was episode 2 of season 2, which is the one where they have the gas cloud that can poop gold and control people's minds and that sort of stuff. And the climax of the episode is a fart joke, where he then stands up and farts in Marty's face. Or Morty's face, sorry.
Yep.
So, yep.
Well, yeah, so basically the relationship between this eccentric grandfather and his grandson, they go around the universe having crazy adventures with aliens and, other dimensions and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's pretty crazy. But I find it's got a lot of hat tips to different TV shows, different other series, different movies, and picking up on those I find, quite entertaining.
Yeah. Look, there's a lot of a lot of stuff to recommend this TV show. So it's free to start with. So it's online. You can just watch it off the Adult Swim website, and the actual quality of the animation isn't super high. But it doesn't necessarily have to be that if the actual plot points are solid and the comedy is really well done, which it is. So I've got to say there's very very little about this that I don't like, but there's a couple of points that I still find not that enjoyable. So some of the most base humor like that is not that fun for me to watch. And the other thing that I don't really like is, the vomiting thing that he does all the time. I don't really enjoy watching that in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, he's a bit of a disgusting character in a lot of ways, but I think that adds to his charm as a almost loving grandfather.
Yeah. What about you, Harrow? How did you feel?
When I saw clips of it, I was expecting, this is just another Family Guy knockoff or riding on the coattails of Family Guy's success. I was only planning on watching the first 4 episodes, but then ended up binge watching 2 seasons. Yeah, I don't laugh myself silly like Bauxite does, but it was a lot of the cultural humor is spot on, as opposed to something like Big Bang Theory where the cultural humor is stupid and you're like, just shut up. This stuff actually does, I do enjoy the sci-fi and cultural humor of the show.
Yeah. Like, there are a lot of really funny references. Some of the science stuff, it's cartoon science, so, yeah.
It's on the same wavelength as Big Bang Theory, and, yeah.
And, yeah. But that said, they do some really fun stuff with it. So, one of the episodes has Rick trying to kill his extra-dimensional selves because he knows what they're thinking and they're trying to kill him at the same time. It's really, really funny watching him, yeah.
The one where the one that I rewatched because it just brought tears to my eyes was the one where they take Jerry to Jerry daycare. That was so funny.
That was a brilliant episode.
All the Jerrys of the multiverse, and you look at the form while you're dropping him off, stowed away, is annoying me just because. How long you dropping him off for? The options are unknown and forever.
So Jerry is Rick's Rick's son-in-law and Morty's father. So they don't get along so well. Jerry got Rick's daughter pregnant after the prom, so Rick doesn't think a whole lot of him, and which is completely understandable since he is a crap human.
As played by one of the actors who was in Archer, and as well as Archer, he was in Anchorman 1 and 2. I can't remember the guy's name right now. The voice cast on this show is fantastic.
Chris Parnell.
Yeah, not that he is the nicest character in this show. Terrible person in a lot of ways, but there's always a weakness to Chris Parnell's characters. I don't know if it's the particular quality of his voice or something, but they always get him to play these characters that are not so strong morally or otherwise. But certainly an unlikable character there. But
yeah, I think his main problem is not immorality; it's incompetence.
Yeah,
he's not good at morality because he's not good at anything.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I wasn't expecting to like this show. I started off I watched the first part of the first episode, and I didn't really so much enjoy, I guess, the interplay between Rick and Morty. I found that for some of the stuff that, that Rick was dragging Morty into, I wasn't so into. I thought that, this is going to be a long thing. And I don't know what happened, but after that first episode, I was wanting to watch more.
The first episode is probably the weakest, and it definitely picks up from there.
Okay. Yeah, like, I've only seen, I think, about 3 episodes myself. So I saw that very first episode and the start of season 2. But yeah, I still thoroughly enjoyed that. That second episode of season 2 is really funny in its own way, even with the fart and poop jokes and stuff like that.
I think that's actually a hat tip to... There was a Twilight Zone episode where there was a fog that turned people inside out, which was parodied by The Simpsons in one of the Treehouse of Horror episodes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say, anything we dislike about the series?
Well, yeah, as I already discussed, there's the animation quality and the fact that Rick is constantly vomiting. It's just pointless. It doesn't add anything to the actual show, I don't think, aside from, like, we already know he's morally bankrupt, but yeah.
Bankrupt? He's Donald Trump bankrupt, man.
I wouldn't go quite that far.
Come on, man. He's got standards.
And by the way, what's this Donald Trump? Donald Trump.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I'd say that the show has the same problem that Family Guy suffers from, that they can just drag the humor out too long. You're like, it stopped being a while ago. Move on, please.
Often, in Family Guy's case, that's often something I enjoy, is their deliberate use of that, but with that in mind, Family Guy crosses the line too many times for my liking, and I'm not likely to be one to say that. I enjoyed Deadpool, but certainly as far as, TV shows go, Family Guy quite deliberately keeps pushing that line. Do you guys see that at all in Rick and Morty?
Yeah, in part. There are some gags and some jokes that seem to sort of drag on for a while. So the episode with the fart cloud again, where he's singing to Morty. Oh my goodness, that just dragged on and on and on. But
there's actually a lot of singing in the series.
Okay.
There's a number of episodes featuring Rick singing. So yeah, that's pretty cool.
Here's a question for you guys. What about... So, with Family Guy, I find it really difficult to watch, say, more than 2 episodes and still being enjoying myself. I can watch stuff after that, but I find beyond that, I'm kind of over the humor, and seeing the same stuff again and again. Whereas... Harrow, you said you binged watched this. Did you find it continuously funny all the way through? And do you have that problem where I find it less funny the more I watch?
It had its ups and downs. Having said that I've binge watched it, I'm not counting the seconds till season 3, so the new season comes out, unlike some other shows. If I never saw another episode, I'd be fine. Wouldn't say I'm overloaded, but I'm sated, as it were.
I mean, I'm certainly looking forward to season 3, but similarly, I've very much enjoyed the experience, but I don't think my life would be poor if season 3 never came out.
Yeah.
I think it's been great for what it is, but look, there's no deep story that it needs to keep going through. There's no story arc. It's not the X-Files where you've got, 12 seasons of how does the Smoking Man actually fit into anything. It's just each episode is what it is. It's pretty much self-contained. So there's nothing to really hook you into it unless you just viscerally enjoy the humor of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed the ride while it lasted, but I wasn't running to join the queue again. How's that for an analogy?
Yeah.
How many times did you vomit on the ride?
Not as much as Rick did.
I can totally see myself watching this on a commute. So commuting to and from work, this is like that sort of bite-sized, amusing, get you going kind of humor that I'll probably enjoy, and that's kind of where it fits in. It doesn't really fit into my make a point of sitting down to watch an episode this each night, like say Game of Thrones or something like that for me.
Yeah. I think probably the show I would most closely associate this with would be South Park.
Yeah.
Although it doesn't seem to make the same sort of point that South Park makes out of every episode. Every episode is definitely trying to say something that, it's got a message behind it. Whereas Rick and Morty, it's just like, hey, this was fun, we went on an adventure.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's South Park. The other stuff that if you've seen before, it probably means you'll like this is like Family Guy that we've already discussed. Futurama, definitely. There's a lot of links with Futurama.
Yeah, I would say
Simpsons, I'd say. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So it fits up there. Would you guys prefer this over any of those particular genres of, if you will, of comic, of cartoon?
I would say this is second to Futurama for me.
I'd put this second to South Park.
What about you, Cam?
I probably prefer this over South Park, Contemporary Simpsons, Futurama, but I didn't find it laugh out loud funny. I found it enjoyable. I found I could continue watching more than I expected to. But I actually personally enjoy Family Guy more than this one, So I might be the only one who's still not sick of Family Guy. There's a lot of fatigue that people seem to be experiencing over that show, but it's definitely enjoyable. I only watched the first part of the first season, so I'm definitely up for finishing this as far as, going through the end of second season. And I definitely think they should continue it if that's, something they're considering at this point.
Yeah. For me, it fits just behind Futurama and Family Guy, but probably I enjoy it more than South Park and The Simpsons and stuff. So, yeah. Wherever you fall into any of those cartoon shows, then you're probably going to enjoy this as well.
Yeah, not every creature in Rick and Morty has a squirm on its face. just warning you now. So if you don't like, maybe avoid this.
I had not noticed that.
What?
No, I really had not noticed that. Serious?
It is so in your face. This is a cockroach person. It has on its chin. This is a tree. Its fruit resembles. This is this alien parasite. It shrivels up like a. Everything is a.
I think that's going to be one cut that we'll have to make from this show, where we cut that bit and we use it as an intro to the show. Just Harrow going, everything is a.
And with James Spader.
That's our new logo. Well played. Everything is a. Cool.
Yeah.
Tremendous.
Well, shall we round it up?
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us this week. We hope you've enjoyed yourselves as much as we have. You can catch us on Twitter at wellplayedau. You can send us questions, comments, or abuse at wellplayed@gmail.com. And if you like us, please leave us a 5-star review. See you guys.
See ya.
Bye.